I made a video about my manifestation process a couple of days ago, and I was surprised because my dad watched that video and he reached out to me and said, "Hey, how do you do this whole manifestation thing? Teach me. I want to do it as well." And he's the last person I expected to resonate with that kind of video, 60-year-old Pakistani guy talking about manifestation. So, "Hey, love your manifestation video. Can you make a video about what you do daily? What is your manifestation process?" So I said, "Yeah, let me make that video." So here it is. Three really quick things I want to point out when you're trying to attract something into your life, when you're trying to focus on goals. Number one is whatever you want, convince yourself it is inevitable. If you put your mind to it, it will happen. Don't know when, don't know how long it's going to take, it's just going to happen. So whatever your goal is, make sure you're convincing yourself it's absolutely inevitable. The moment you write it down, somehow or the other it's going to happen. Just accept that fact. Number two, don't worry about the how, because the moment you start thinking of how, your brain goes into your reference experience of, wait, we've never done this before. You've never even made half of that money. How is that possible? Or there's no way you're going to attract someone into your life based on how you look. You don't have the reference experience because you don't know how to do it now. That doesn't mean that you'll never be able to do it. So don't worry about the how, just forget about it. Just set the goal and forget about how it's going to happen. It's just going to happen because it's inevitable. And lastly, don't be realistic. This is the biggest problem that I had putting in goals. I remember in 2020, my goal was I want to start a side business that can give me a little bit of passive income, maybe a couple of $100 here and there. I ended up making $100,000 plus. Now imagine if I had set $100,000 as my goal, how much more would I have made, right? So don't worry about the realistic thing. Again, we set a realistic goal because we're not disappointed. Let's say you're making $50,000 right now. You set a goal for $150,000. Maybe you landed $100,000. That's still pretty damn good, right? So don't be realistic with your goal. Believe it's inevitable. Don't worry about the how, and don't be realistic. So the first thing I do every single morning is write 10 things I'm grateful for. 10. I know 10 is a lot, but you can think of a lot of small things. I have food and water. I have shelter. I have limbs. I can breathe. I can see. I can hear. All these small things that we usually take for granted, write them down. So you see my entire journal is just like 10 things here, 10 things, 10 things, 10 things, and over again, I just write them down and remind myself every single day. So what I do is I remind myself of things that I want. So let's say I want more money, I want better relationships, I want better health. I'm going to be grateful for those things. So the more you're grateful for things that you have, the more they're top of mind, the more you will then see them in the world. So every single day in the morning, I write them down. At night, I review them. So twice a day, I'm grateful for the things that I have, and I'm attracting more of them into my life. I'll read out one of my days for you just to give you an example. I'm excited to have woken up at 9 a.m. I'm excited to have the opportunity to pay bills. I'm excited to get started with research for my program. I'm excited to get so many days off. I'm excited that I'm consistent in the gym. I'm grateful to have access to the food that I have. I'm grateful to be meeting my friend today. I'm grateful that I'm starting working with a new client. I'm grateful that I'm meditating. I'm grateful that I'm living in Canada, and I'm also grateful for having more money that I know what to do with. That's an average example of what my gratitude list would look like. So you'll notice a lot of the things on there are also things that I want more of. If you really want to take this to the next level, I write these down, I close my eyes, I think of every single point, and I really try to feel in my body what emotion it makes me feel when I think about being grateful for having food. What does it make me feel like when I'm grateful for having friends? I really try to feel it with the emotion. Just close your eyes and picture yourself super grateful for having that thing. That's it. Now the second thing I do, and this is actually quite a long list, I made a whole list of things that I associate my identity with. Who is Yasser? Who is Yasser at the most prime level? Who is somebody I aspire to be? And I've written down like 31 points in my journal of who I want Yasser to be. But I'll write them in the present tense as if I'm already there. And every morning when I wake up, I read these out loud. Literally, I say these out loud. So they're basically affirmations. I'm extremely wealthy and well respected. I'm in the best shape of my life. I walk up with my head held high and I'm very confident. These things I repeatedly say in the morning. So I'll go through my 21 points, then I'll sit down and I'll really visualize with my feelings of myself walking the earth with all these points applying to me, okay? You might get a little distracted here and there, that's fine. Bring yourself back to your breath and focus on the visualization. I do this for maybe 2 to 5 minutes tops. So this list, you can sit down one time and really think about, what is my ideal self? Who do I really want to be? Write all that down. Everything that you want to be as a person, every single morning read it. Because what's going to happen is you read those things, and as you're walking through life, you're like, oh, I want to be more confident. I don't feel more confident now. You'll automatically adjust your behavior to fit that model of who you want to be. So I write those things down and I repeat it out loud. So I remember my roommate back home, I'd wake up and the first thing that I'd say when I wake up is, man, I'm rich. Man, I'm so freaking rich. I just walk around the house saying that. And my roommate was like, dude, I get it. You're making money. I was like, no, you don't get it. I'm so rich. Sometimes my girlfriend's over and I'll just look at her and be like, why are we so rich? So it's like, I keep reminding myself of that or other things. Like I'll look in the mirror, I'll be like, man, I'm so sexy. Again, I look at my girlfriend like, why am I so sexy? Like I'm keeping myself top of mind. I'm reminding myself over and over again. And sometimes it can be pretty annoying to people around you, so you don't have to do it with people around you. But, I like teasing them with my affirmations. So around the house, I'll say these things, and eventually I'm saying it so many times that it becomes my reality. I know no other reality. I know I'm sexy. I know I'm really wealthy. That's just who I am, and that's what I say every single day. So take the time to really write down what is your identity, read it every morning, and then throughout the day, the reminders of that, keep telling yourself that out loud. I do that all the time. When I started, I was like, I can't do this. This is the cringiest thing in the world. And a part of me would almost feel like, oh, you're lying to yourself. You're not really there. But the more you do it, the more you get in the grasp of it, the more it works. So just trust me on this. Work through the awkwardness. Just say it out loud every single. As for the actual visualization process, right after I'm saying these things, I'll sit down, close my eyes, just play in my head me walking the earth, playing this character of who I want to be. That's all. That it doesn't have to be super crazy. And what I try to do is I feel with all my senses. What's it like seeing if I'm living that day? What am I hearing? What am I tasting? What am I smelling? What am I touching? What does the experience of life feel like when I'm embodying all those characteristics? The more you can feel it, the more of it you'll attract to your life. Okay, that's pretty much what my visualization process looks like. The last thing I want to mention, I was going through my journals when I was making the most amount of money, and I was doing a lot of overnight affirmation. This is something I learned from Joe Dispenza, who says your mind is in a state where the frontal cortex is shut down and you're absorbing everything through your subconscious mind throughout when you're going to sleep and you go to sleep and you wake up. So that's the point where your logical brain is turned off. It's not dismissing information, it just takes the information in. So it's the best time to feed yourself affirmations. So I remember for 3 months, I actually had, you can see this affirmation here, it's Bob Proctor something about money, and I just had it running in the background for 8 hours straight every single night. I'd go to sleep, I'd put it on there on a volume that's not going to wake me up, but it's not dim enough for me, or it's not low enough for me not to hear it, and I just played every single day. And I swear to God, it was the weirdest thing. I'd be worried about money, I'd write down my affirmations. At night, I would play the overnight affirmations. I wake up, go to my LinkedIn inbox, there's like 3 people there. Hey, I want to work with you, or hey, can we book a call? Every single time. It blew my mind how well that works. So this is one of those things that you really have to test out, because I know some people who try out overnight affirmations and they're like, I can't sleep, it's too loud. I used to play them, and at a certain point, I'd wake up because of them. So I'd go and turn them off like 3 hours into my sleep and go back to sleep. So really experiment with this, but going back into my journals, it made a really big difference of how much success is attracted to my life. And then when I wake up listening to 8 hours of I'm rich, I have money, I'm wealthy, the first thing I'd say is I'm rich, I'm wealthy, I have so much money, because that's pretty much what I'm feeding myself on. So what I'd recommend is try this out for at least 2 weeks and see how it improves your life. I did it for 3 months and I kind of fell off the bandwagon. Now I'm doing it again, and for me, my business, my life, my relationships are at a point where I don't have to do anything. I don't have to work towards getting business. I don't have to work towards attracting people into my life. It just happens because the systems are so built in. My belief system has become so strong now that nothing can kind of sway me away. And it's because I keep convincing myself every single morning over and over again. So try this out for at least 2 weeks. Please let me know in the comments if this helped out. I'm looking forward to hearing from you how it went. And hopefully we can all manifest a dream of our life in the next 2 weeks. See you next time.